With over 25,800 new cases, Maharashtra records highest ever daily spike in COVID cases. New city-specific curbs announced in major Punjab towns as well as in Bhopal, Indore and Ahmedabad. Over 600 cases in Delhi, highest spike since the 6th of January. Kejriwal calls for vaccinations to be open for all adults. Says Delhi can vaccinate in 3 months if allowed. Protests break out after BJP announces second list of Bengal candidates. 148 candidates are announced, but after the protest, BJP changes candidate in Alipurduar seat. Bengal's electoral war cry, Mamta's Khela Hobe versus PM Modi's Vikas Hobe. Prime Minister says your game will be over and development will begin. Mamta Banerjee says a snake or a tiger needs to be stopped at the door. Maharashtra government says Parambir Singh was replaced as Mumbai Police Commissioner because some unforgivable lapses were revealed in Ambani security scare probe. Meanwhile, 5 cars have now been seized in the Vaze probe so far. And Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari says toll booths and a long wait there will soon be a thing of the past. Toll collection will be based on GPS imaging. And India beat England by 8 runs in the 4th T20. Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Rohit Wellington. Let's begin with our top story. The worrying rise in COVID cases. Maharashtra has logged 25,833 fresh cases of COVID over the last 24 hours. It's the highest since the outbreak of the pandemic last year. In the same period, 58 deaths have taken place, marking a sharp rise in both number of cases and deaths. As of 1st of March, the positivity rate was around 11% for Maharashtra, which grew to more than 16%. Over the last 24 hours, the figure has dropped marginally to 13.35%. Mumbai also reported a spike of 2,877 new COVID cases. The Maharashtra government has prohibited all social, cultural, political and religious gatherings in the state in an effort to curb the further spread of COVID-19. And all over India, 35,871 cases were reported in 24 hours. That's the highest since early December. With a major jump in COVID cases in this second wave of infection, many city-specific curbs have been announced. In Punjab, night curfew will be beginning in the 9 worst affected districts at 9 p.m. instead of 11 p.m. Now in Madhya Pradesh, the night curfew has been now imposed in the 2 big cities of Bhopal and Indore. In Ahmedabad, bus services have been curtailed until further notice. In Palghar district of Maharashtra, there is indefinite closure of all schools and colleges. And in Ghaziabad in western UP, there are curbs on social gatherings till the 10th of May. Now, cases in national capital Delhi are also rising. Delhi has reported 609 cases in the last 24 hours, the highest spike since the 6th of January. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has urged the centre to open vaccinations for all adults. He said that Delhi can vaccinate all of its adult residents in 3 months if allowed to do so.
केंद्र सरकार से भी मैं अपील करना चाहता हूं कि अभी उन्होंने जो गाइडलाइंस जारी की हैं सेंटर्स की, वो बहुत ज्यादा सख्त हैं, जिसकी वजह से नए सेंटर्स खोलने में दिक्कत हो रही है। अब तो अपना 2 महीने का एक्सपीरियंस हो गया वैक्सीन लगाने का। इसके बेसिस पे हम केंद्र सरकार को चिट्ठी भी लिख रहे हैं कि अपने इन पैरामीटर्स को थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स कर दीजिए। अगर देश के अंदर कोरोना के केस बढ़ गए तो ये तालमेल नहीं खाती बात, ये हजम नहीं होती बात। तो अभी जो इतना स्ट्रिक्ट रेस्ट्रिक्शन किया हुआ है, बहुत ज्यादा वो किया हुआ है, सख्त किया हुआ है कि ये लगा सकता है, ये नहीं लगा सकता, ये केवल ये एलिजिबल है, वो एलिजिबल नहीं है। मेरा उनसे निवेदन है कि अब हमारे देश के अंदर काफी प्रोडक्शन वैक्सीन का बढ़ गया है और अब ये वैक्सीन खोल देनी चाहिए। जो बताते हैं 18 साल से कम वालों को नहीं लगानी, उनको छोड़ के हमें एक ऐसी लिस्ट बनानी चाहिए कि कौन एलिजिबल नहीं है, कि 18 साल से कम आयु वाले एलिजिबल नहीं है।
Karnataka too is getting ready to cope with the second wave of COVID-19, with state's technical committee giving a report that seems to indicate that second wave is on its way. A meeting was held on Thursday by Karnataka's Health Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar with senior officials to take stock of the situation and make sure that government hospitals are prepared.
Jayanagar General Hospital in Bengaluru, one of the many government hospitals around Karnataka, getting ready to face a possible second wave of COVID cases. Bengaluru will have 1,000 beds set aside in government institutions for COVID patients.
By the second week of March, the patients COVID positive patients are surging like anything, and every day I am getting 7 to 8 patients getting admitted. I have reserved 50 beds for COVID patients.
And the state hopes to have learnt from admission nightmares encountered by patients at the start of the pandemic last year.
In all our government institutions today, we are earmarked certain number of beds for the COVID patients. We are establishing 3 COVID care centers in Bangalore so that the less severe patients or with less symptomatic patients, they can come and get admitted.
Vaccination targets in the state are now 3 lakhs a day. So far, no extra curbs have been announced. But Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa made it clear to citizens that they will have to follow COVID protocols if they want to avoid another lockdown. With DM Kumar, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
Meanwhile, in the election-bound states, amid the poll frenzy, COVID caution seems to have gone for a toss. Authorities have directed parties to follow SOPs. But is anyone listening? Sam Daniel reports from Battleground, Tamil Nadu.
Large-scale COVID violations in poll-bound Tamil Nadu, even after authorities directed political parties to ensure wearing of masks in public meetings and road shows. A few with masks can be seen and no physical distancing, even at campaigns by Chief Minister EPS, his challenger N.K. Stalin, and others like Kamal Hassan and Dinakaran. Tamil Nadu has seen a near 100% rise in COVID cases in close to 3 weeks, from 474 on the 1st of March to 945 on the 17th Wednesday, due to what officials call heightened political activity, rise in family meetings and home quarantine violations.
heightened political activity இருக்கும்போது கூட்டங்கள் வரும்போது நீங்களே உங்களோட தொலைக்காட்சியில காட்டிருக்கீங்க யாருமே பொதுமக்கள் மாஸ்க் அணியாம அங்க போறாங்க அங்க யாராவது ஒருத்தருக்கு தான் மற்றவருக்கு போறாங்க.
Political parties, however, claim they are doing their best.
The Honorable CM and Honorable Deputy Chief Minister is reiterating in every rally wherever they go, asking the cadres to wear masks, follow social distancing and follow the guidelines issued by the government.
Our leader has vaccinated himself and has urged everybody else to vaccinate them. Apart from that, he has also advised all the party workers and everybody and the general public to use masks and follow social distancing.
While political parties appear to be not so much concerned about public safety as much as votes, people too have largely let their guard down. Anticipating an exponential rise in numbers, health officials are now getting ready COVID care centers, at least 4,000 beds in Chennai alone. In Chennai with Annette Beryl, Sam Daniel, Find TV.
Right to Bengal now, where protests broke out after BJP announced final list of candidates. For Bengal, BJP announced 148 candidates on Thursday. Overall, 157 names have been announced for Bengal polls. 9 ex-Trinamool MLAs were fielded out of have been fielded in fact out of 157 candidates named. Names were announced on Thursday for phases 5, 6, 7, 8. Dilip Ghosh will not be contesting the assembly polls. Big names to fight the elections include Mukul Roy. Mukul Roy's son will be contesting from Bijpur. One more MP has been fielded to fight the assembly elections, taking the total to 5. BJP MP Jagannath Sarkar will be contesting from Santipur in Nadia. Other MPs include Minister Babul Supriyo and MP Loket Chatterjee. Meanwhile, protests broke out after BJP workers in fact protested after BJP list was announced. BJP has now changed its candidate after those protests. Ticket has been given to the local leader in Alipurdwar, replacing eminent economist Ashok Lahiri. Lahiri's candidacy was being contested by the local BJP workers there. Lahiri was given a ticket from Alipurdwar seat. Now local candidate Suman Kanjilal has been made a candidate there. Meanwhile, in Bengal, Prime Minister Modi and Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee traded barbs on their campaign trail.
टीएमसी के दिन अब गिनती के ही रह गए हैं और ये बात ममता दीदी भी अच्छी तरह समझ रही है और इसलिए वो कह रही है खेला हो गए तो दीदी खेला नहीं खेला जाता दीदी दीदी बोले खेला हो गए बीजेपी बोले चाकरी हो गए दीदी बोले खेला हो गए बीजेपी बोले विकास हो गए यहां तो दीदी की निर्मम सरकार ने माओवादियों की एक नई नस्ल बना दी है जो टीएमसी के माध्यम से गरीबों का पैसा लूटती है गरीबों के हकों को लूटती है अपने राजनीतिक लाभ के लिए दीदी की सरकार माओवादी हिंसा को भी बढ़ावा देती है
ভরসা যোগাবে আমার একটি পায়ের এবং মা বোনদের পায়ের মধ্যে দিয়ে আমি আমার আগামী দিনের পথ চলাকে খুঁজে পাবো আমি কালকে একদিনের জন্য কলকাতায় ফিরেছিলাম ফিরে আবার ড্রেসিং করতে হলো প্লাস্টার করতে হলো দেখলাম এখনো পুরোপুরি রক্ত জমাট হয়ে আছে একদম পুরোটা পা নাড়ানো যাচ্ছে না কিন্তু তা সত্ত্বেও আমি ছুটে আসছি একটাই কারণে মাগো ঘরের দুয়ারে যদি সাপ লুকিয়ে থাকে ঘরের দুয়ারে যদি বাঘ এসে হানা দেয় তবে মনে রাখতে হবে সেই বাঘটাকে হানা দিতে দেওয়া যাবে না সাপটাকেও ঘরে ঢুকতে দেওয়া যাবে না যদি আমার কোনো মাওবাদী বন্ধু থাকেন যদি আমার কোনো বামপন্থী বন্ধু থাকেন যদি আমার কোনো কংগ্রেসী বন্ধু থাকেন তাদের উদ্দেশ্যও বলবো সিপিএম কে ভোট দিয়ে ভোটটা নষ্ট করবেন না বাংলায় ওরা বিজেপির গদাই কংগ্রেসকে ভোট দিয়ে ভোটটা নষ্ট করবেন না ওরা বিজেপির জগাই আর বিজেপিকে ভোট দেবেন না ওটা হচ্ছে দাঙ্গাকারী মাধাই
Now to poll-bound Assam, where Prime Minister Modi held his election rally in the Karimganj district. Now, the choice of this venue was significant. Why? Ratneep Chaudhary reports.
कांग्रेस है जिसके पास न तो नेता है न ही नीति है इस बार एनडीए को पहले से भी अधिक ताकत से विजय दिलानी है आपका वोट असम को आत्मनिर्भरता की तरफ ले जाने के लिए है
Prime Minister Modi at Karimganj in Assam, questioning the Congress alliances in poll-bound states. But unlike his party colleagues, does not even mention Badruddin Ajmal. All this while in the Assam campaign, from Amit Shah to JP Nadda, BJP has labelled Ajmal as enemy number one, not the Congress. Pro-BJP Twitter handles tweeting videos claiming Ajmal has said that he wants to make Assam an Islamic state. Later the video was found doctored. Election Commission has ordered a probe by Assam CID. Ajmal's allies now calling out the BJP for running alleged illegal syndicates.
All the BJP and its different organizations which are affiliated to them, they are doing hafta wasuli, mahina wasuli. So the type of organization they are running is a syndicate organization and people are very upset about it.
Of the 15 seats in Barak Valley in 2016, BJP won 8. AIUDF won 5 and Congress only 2. In the 2016 Assam polls, BJP and allies formed the government by getting 41% of the vote share. The Congress had got 31% votes and the AIUDF got 13% of the vote share. Clearly, the division of opposition votes helped BJP win. This time, if the Congress and AIUDF can transfer their votes to each other, BJP may very well have a tough fight.
The Congress and the AIUDF are expected to do well in the Lower Assam region. The BJP and allies would like to dominate the Assamese heartland of Upper Assam, where in past there have been massive anti-CAA protests, and therefore the BJP would like to look at regions like Barak Valley, where they also have a strong presence, but Ajmal also has a base.
Ajmal himself explains why he is a major factor in these polls.
ये सारे 33% या 35% ये अजमल साहब के इशारे पे जाते हैं, अजमल साहब की बातें सुनते हैं, तो इन लोगों को डर है कि 35% एक साथ में पलट गया तो इन लोगों पे कभी भी हुकूमत नहीं बन सकती है.
The fight for Assam will be interesting, as BJP is concerned of losing out on some seats in Lower Assam. It aims to cut its losses in upper and central parts, which propelled it to victory last time. Result day will prove whether the Ajmal factor was hyped or certainly was the big decider to swing the results. With Ratnadeep Chaudhary in Guwahati, Usama Shab for NDTV.
Time for a short break. On the other side, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has announced a new vehicle scrappage policy and has also said that toll booths will be gone in a year. We'll get you that story on the other side. Welcome back. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has announced vehicle scrappage plan in the Lok Sabha. Commercial and private vehicles will be deregistered after 15 and 20 years respectively, and their re-registration will be discouraged, he said. He also provided a tentative timeline for the proposed scrapping policy and said that it would lead to a cleaner environment and increased road safety. Nitin Gadkari also said that toll booths across the country and the long wait there will soon become a thing of the past. Instead, there will be a GPS-based system that will track cars and levy charges accordingly.
स्वच्छ पर्यावरण, वाहन चालक एवं पदयात्रियों की सुरक्षा के हित में सड़क परिवहन और राजमार्ग मंत्रालय ने वॉलंटरी व्हीकल फ्लीट मॉडर्नाइजेशन प्रोग्राम VVMP अथवा स्क्रैपिंग नीति की शुरुआत कर रही है. यहाँ एक ऐसी विन विन पॉलिसी होगी जिससे कि न केवल पुराने वाहनों को स्क्रैप करने का प्रोत्साहन मिलेगा, बल्कि नए वाहनों को खरीदने के लिए सामान्य जनमानस को आर्थिक सहूलत भी मिलेगी. मैं सदन को आश्वस्त कर रहा हूं कि 1 साल के अंदर सब टोल निकल जाएंगे देश के, पर उसका अर्थ यह है कि टोल नहीं रहेंगे, पर आपको जीपीएस पे हमारे केवल रोड के एंट्री पर कैमरा रहेगा, जीपीएस पर आपका इमेज कैच करेगा और जहां से जाओगे वहां और जहां से निकलोगे वहां उतना ही पैसा आपसे कटेगा, ना टोल होगा, ना रोकेगा कोई, ना कुछ होगा, और ये 1 साल के अंदर हम लोग पूरा करेंगे.
In some of the news, Parambir Singh was replaced as Mumbai Police Commissioner because some unforgivable lapses had been revealed in the Mukesh Ambani security scare probe. That's what the Maharashtra government has said. In an interview to a Marathi newspaper, Lokmat, Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh has said that mistakes revealed in the probe could not be condoned. Meanwhile, NIA has seized more luxury cars in the Vaze probe. Total 5 cars now have been seized. Now, academic and political commentator Pratap Bhanu Mehta, whose resignation from Ashoka University this week reignited a discussion on the consequences of criticizing the BJP-led government at the centre, had written in his letter to the university authorities about the quote-unquote risks of his writings. I quote what he wrote, and I quote, "After a meeting with founders, it has become abundantly clear to me that my association with the university may be considered a political liability." That's what he wrote in his letter dated Monday, the 15th of March. He goes on to say, "My public writing in support of a politics that tries to honor constitutional values of freedom and equal respect for all citizens is perceived to carry risks for the university. In the interest of the university, I resign," he said. And after Pratap Bhanu Mehta, Arvind Subramanian, the former chief economic advisor, has also resigned from the Ashoka University. This after Pratap Bhanu Mehta's resignation, and he says that "I'm devastated by the circumstances involving the resignation of Professor Pratap Bhanu Mehta. It's troubling that someone of such integrity and eminence felt compelled to leave. that even Ashoka, with its private status and backing by private capital, can no longer provide a space for academic expression and freedom is ominously disturbing. It's difficult for me to continue being part of Ashoka University, and the university's commitment to fight for and sustain its vision is now open to question. My resignation will take effect from the end of this academic year. That's what Arvind Subramanian has said.